This is how strange insight is. I've been thinking about not having insight and leaving insight alone, and I was singing a little bit and then realizing I was having an insight into how I'm waiting for the vibrato to come in. And it's not something I can do or command now, but I can invite it and maybe it'll eventually happen. And then I was thinking about certain symptoms that I've had of like shaking and being cold and that sort of vibration. And then I had an insight into how maybe some symptoms can actually be signs of what our talent or our gift was or should have been had we gone along that path, as opposed to going along a path of being mechanized into some kind of function as a cog in the machine of society's commercialism. So I was having an insight into the possibility of how symptoms are of supposed illness are signs that might point to what our artistic gift was and might have been, and still could be. And maybe talking about insights when I have them is good. That's why I'm just doing it now when I haven't had a shower yet. I'll talk more later. I'm going to go back to singing while I have a few minutes of space to myself. I finally made it out to the park after procrastinating. I wanted to charge my spire and then put it on, but I forgot to put it on before I left. So it won't be counting the active breaths and steps on this walk, unfortunately. But can't capture everything. And I've been having an insight into being in the body, which I already know about, but putting that into practice is challenging because I procrastinated by doing online shopping. I bought a hat. I bought 2 different kinds of blue blocker glasses because I'm thinking that it might actually be helpful to block blue light, because I think that's part of what speeds me up. So it might be a good way to slow me down even during the day. And perhaps maybe not having to take as many supplements if I don't speed up my brain so much by processing so much light and information and meaning and significance. So I don't know if it'll have an effect, but having a couple pairs that I can wear in public I think is a good thing, because the ones I have right now are kind of for private use. They're like industrial type glasses. And I'm probably going to buy a few Universe tank tops because I realized I've been spending a lot of money on things for these experiments, like that heart math device and the cardia device. And I told myself before, I need to equally spend money on fun. The trouble is, though, when collecting these items, it can take a long time. And then we can spend all this time trying to plan to have fun, and be active and be in the body, but not doing it. So after my walk, I'm going to look at a certain tennis court to see if they have a wall that I can play tennis by myself. Otherwise, I need someone to play with me. And what else? So yeah, the whole online shopping thing, I've been spending a lot of money. Seems like I can't stop when I'm in this sort of morphic field of consumerism, even though I'm buying healthy stuff. So it's okay in a way. Plus I realized, again, for the millionth time, that I need to recreate myself. The very first time I had a crisis, I had the sense that I needed to fake my own death. But really, I think that was about needing to reinvent myself and not be the self that I was before. So I want to be that healthy self, but I also want to be some kind of artist self or artist of myself, which isn't myself. It's more like oneself or best self. I wanted to replace the word myself with best self. Best standing for boundless energy, space-time. So boundless energy being transmuted and grounded into space-time. So best self, not myself, because my and self is the same thing, and they cancel each other out, so there's nothing there. And using language incorrectly sort of reinforces these other illusions. But it could actually be helpful to speak in old languaging to not speed my brain up too much into new possibilities. So that's the thing I'm struggling with a bit now, is that there's new, or I should say challenge with, not struggling with, there's these new possibilities that I see as possible, but they're not grounded in the now. So getting back to the lowest common denominator, and part of that is the body. So being in the body, getting clothes to dress the body, eating high vibration food for the body, physiology stuff. And I saw a really beautiful butterfly on the beginning of my walk. There's the blue butterfly. Such joy. It's a game to capture the beauty. It's too beautiful to focus on. So balancing by buying fun stuff, even though perhaps I need to stop buying, otherwise I'll run out of money and then I'll be in scarcity consciousness. And I had that insight at the beginning of the day when I wasn't even showered yet. And I was trying to say goodbye to insight, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. But perhaps having insights while doing embodied things will be more grounded versions of insights than ones that are sort of higher consciousness and less relevant to the moment now. So we'll see what happens with that. And also wondering what makes the cells of the body happy. The actual cells. And maybe talking about some insights daily. And doing what I want, which is rollerblade and maybe make some music and sing. And also doing some acts of kindness. I talked about this a long time ago, but then I didn't work to embody it. So I really possibly want to work to embody that. So when I'm out grocery shopping tomorrow, I might see if I can get some things that help with gestures of kindness, and also the past, and also, one day creating the dream center. But the lowest common denominator is the happiness of the cells of the body, and not the happiness of the subjective mind, because it's not congruent, or maybe there's a way to bring that into coherence, and that's what I'm going to try to do with that heart math device when I get it. It might be a way to measure the coherence, like if I'm out and about doing stuff, and see what that is showing. And I think lately I've been, and probably for a while, I've been treating the body as kind of an inconvenience. Like, oh, I have to make food, or oh, I have to do this or that for my body. But I need to change that movement and be just as present and celebrating a simple thing like eating like I used to, as I am about researching things on the computer. And that's something that really speeds up my brain, because the computer is sort of similar in a way to what a brain based on insight, or that can speed up, can do, which is sort of go anywhere, and it doesn't take time to get there. It can speed up really fast. Just like on the internet, cyberspace, we can, be in someone else's mind with what they created online very quickly. So being able to handle those speeding up and slowing down is important. Even this morning, I was making a smoothie, and then all of a sudden I felt myself click into speeding up. But I think I felt the sense of I was moving faster because the people around me were moving slower. Like this whole relativity and consciousness thing that I've been sort of exploring in terms of a felt sense of it and how it manifests as certain things. So yeah, I thought I wanted to talk about this stuff on these cards, but it's sort of maybe stuff for later. And yeah, I've been thinking about the gestures of kindness, to get those kind gestures in my DNA. And I've talked about all this, the epigesturetics of kindness and oxytocin consciousness, and I don't want to go through talking about all those things again. I need to put some of those things into action. And I say that, and then all of a sudden I'll get distracted by something. But I think if I'm out and about and having this kindness possibility, then it'll happen. And I've been too much of a scientist right now, looking at little biofeedback devices, sitting in my little home, and not enough of a Gaiantist, being out in Gaia and learning from the moment. Because when I'm at home in a room, it's all sort of relatively subjective, like, oh, I could use this for this or that. But if I'm out in the moment, then the moment will teach me a lot. Like the butterflies and the singing birds. And indoors too long could have a certain effect, because it's a certain resonance, it's a certain level of consciousness, it's a certain morphogenetic field. So being out in the morphogenetic field of beauty is going to change my DNA, because the perceptio neurogestural things are different. And also, not sure what else. Look at my little cards here. Oh yeah, I emailed MAPS, the multidisciplinary something for psychedelic studies, because they're starting trials for phase 3, but I got an auto reply that was like, we have a very, very long wait list. We might contact you. So I think I can scratch that off my list of possibilities. And also, I've noticed that by setting up my coloring station, I'll just sit down and color. So I think this whole idea of having a large space with different stations, it changes the epigesturetic matrix. So I was thinking about moving some of my things that are tucked away in shelves. Like I have this drawer unit that has a bunch of cool epigesturetic type stuff in it, but they're in drawers that I can't see. Hence, I have not used any of it since I've been back from California. So I do need to keep that in mind and redesign that to be things that I can see. Otherwise, I'm not going to act with them. But at the same time, if I take those things that are inside things and make them seeable, then I could get distracted and get stuck inside. So there's always multiple perspectives for everything. So I need to spend more hours in a day in a selfless way, because I like to imagine that these experiments I'm doing with myself right now could one day help others. But at the same time, if I'm not doing something now that's more selfless, then it's still going to create more and more self, or appearance of self. That could even be what is part of the allostatic load. It could be an allostatic load of building up of a false self with gestures that one imagines are in a selfless direction, but they aren't. So then it eventually implodes upon itself. So I'm wondering what else I can put in my epigesturetic matrix. Of course, being outside is the best, because the universe put that cute little purple butterfly there for me to record in my epigesturetic matrix. And that by perceiving that butterfly, the action was created to attempt to capture the beauty of the butterfly. Of course, capturing it on an iPhone video can't really get much of the essence of it, but it's a more fun game than capturing the chaos. And also, I did the whole cold shower thing, and I was shivering. And since I put the cold water on my head this time, because I washed my hair, I noticed that I couldn't hear as well. I think like the blood in my ears was moving slower, and I couldn't hear as well temporarily. But I think it could help too, in that it slows down the metabolism. Like, I think part of this whole speeding up in consciousness that happens, especially for people when winter switches to spring and spring to summer, is partly metabolic, in that more heat available from the outside speeds up metabolism. The body doesn't have to use so much energy to heat itself, so then it has more energy to do other things, which is part of how evolution works. And even something like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have these basic needs. Well, the body has very basic functions it has to do, like digest food, heat up the body, keep homeostasis. But if there's more heat, the body might need some energy to cool it down, for sure, but the heat naturally that energy can be used for other processes like insight, but also there being more light and brighter days and less clouds when the brain switches into perception of light instead of reaction based on sound image forms as stored holograms, then it's easier to see. But that can be dangerous, in that we start to really see what's happening, and we don't want to see what's happening. We don't want to see beyond the now of what's happening. And that's what can happen in the brain, is that it can start to prophesize and have premonitions based on what it sees now. It can extrapolate. So, and then that's where that whole mystic consciousness and being able to see more and maybe communicate that to others comes into play. But people don't listen to that. They don't want to. But they'll gladly listen to the symptomology that arises later on due to the lack of communication of what's happening. It's turned into what's happening as personal symptoms, which before that there's a space where we can see what's happening, but people don't see it. They don't want to see it because they'd have to change every moment, be so fluid, not have these thoughts, sound, images come in and interpret what's going on, which is a space before which one has some kind of conditioned program as a reflex responding to. what thought says is happening, but what thought says is happening is not what is happening. And yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my walk for a while. In this consciousness, even Laura bars seem magical. Look how it's sparkling. Look at that. The light. Okay, this is a strange synchronicity. I just stopped to put my earthing shoe attachment on, and then I was walking, and these were jingling like this. And I was thinking it's kind of like a bear bell. And then I looked up, and okay, hello, bells. Now that's weird. That's really weird. There's somebody coming, so I'll stop talking about the weirdness, but that is weird. I'm reading this book called Deep Happy, and I'm quite enjoying it. I haven't read books lately, really, though I've been wanting to read a few books. I can't remember what that one was that I was reading that was really good, but it kind of sped up my brain. But this one doesn't really, but it really resonates with my own experience and sometimes magical synchronicities. And he talks about certain stories about, well, anyways, it's chapter 2. I won't repeat the book, but it's like a magical story, and that bell thing that just happened now is sort of similar as a sign in what he's describing in the book. Like, just ask the universe and then go out and wander and it'll be there. It's a different operation. And I wrote down this morning, what would love do? And the answer was wait for the universe to act. So not do anything from the compulsion to do something from any of the patterns of past actions that we have programmed into us as what we need to do. So that's sort of the do nothing thing. And then something else came to me in terms of how we're identified with being the doer. Like we have to feel like we're the doer. But I think it's more true to bring oneself back and be the watcher. Watch the doing happening. Especially when something else is doing it. Not something else, everything else is doing it. Including oneself, but it's such a small part of the whole thing. Though the self is the experiencer is the gift of being able to participate in this. But it's not the actor. There's so many other factors. Ooh, rhyme. Chugga, 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 chugga. Gesture of love. Gesture of connection to the earth. Grounded. Love grounded on the earth. Oh yeah, and the bells thing isn't weird. It's synchronistic and magical. One of my pet peeves about walking in the park is people who pick up their dog poo with the bag and then just leave the bag on the trail or leave it just off the trail. You may as well leave the dog shit on the ground if you're not going to throw it out, because the dog shit in the bag is worse than the dog shit out of the bag. It's just so weird. I don't get it. And there was this new bag on the trail just now, and it was a Dalmatian spotted bag. And there's a lady running with her Dalmatian, and I saw her once, and then I saw her again. And obviously she's the one that dropped that bag. She has these Dalmatian bags. So obvious. And then I was thinking, oh, well, I wish I had a piece of paper to leave a note by the poop. And I also made a note to myself to buy like a garbage picker upper so I can pick up garbage. But then I thought it'd be funny if I had more time to just pick up the bag of poo and walk with it and then do another lap so she can see me holding her bag of shit, and then realize, well, if I don't put it in the garbage, somebody else has to pick it up and put it in the garbage. But I don't have time for that today, and I kind of thought of that after the fact. That would be a good one though, to pick it up and walk with it past her again. But she could be through the park by the time I get back to another lap, and I have to go home and make dinner. I'd love to do that, but I also have to take care of my body. I don't have time to be on a tirade about every single thing. But I'm feeling a bit more inspired to create my magical backpack and put in like a garbage picker upper, some bags, and some pieces of paper so I can leave notes, and some tape. Different magical items for wandering with love. Here's a bag just sitting there. So yeah. Strange. I found a really awesome trail. This is probably windy. I should test that out. Let me see. So this may be my new happy place. And my epigenetic matrix is changing. And I'm finding myself feeling like eating more fruit because it's something you can grab and go. You don't have to spend time in the kitchen. Learning wild edibles, so maybe there's something edible along this trail. Maybe not eating the ones along this trail, but at least learning about some of them. And perhaps devoting my outside time to that. Otherwise, I'll be inside machinating on the computer, which creates more machinating. And yeah, I had a sign that interacting too much with people is going to lead to chaos. And there's ways to avoid that. I wanted to maybe go to California to be in a beautiful space, but it's not going to happen. So I'm thinking, get up, get outside right away, just grab some fruit, grab what I need, do some experiments outside, like power line testing with the EMF meter, get my headphones that are bone conduction so I can still hear safely. When I get my heart math device tested out outside and under power lines and blah blah, whatever, take the experiment outside. And what else? Yeah, so this is kind of a game changer. And this trail is really nice because nobody's on it. And it's only 10 minutes from where I'm staying. So that's great. And it took about an hour to go one way. It'll probably take longer to go back because there was a lot of downhill, so there'll be a lot of uphill. This definitely is an advanced path, even though it's all asphalt. So it's nice for skating, but there's a lot of downhill and uphill and needing to brake and balance and turn. So I can hear the power lines here. Be nice to get a spot that's not underneath power lines to have a snack. And I saw some cool nature, and there's a really beautiful park at the beginning of this. So this is kind of exciting. I just need to change my epigenetic matrix. And I was gonna go shopping tonight for food, and I am, but I was gonna get stuff to make smoothies and broccoli dinners, and I think I'm gonna switch and just kind of be maybe fruitarian, because it's all handheld and you don't have to be in a kitchen making stuff, and I don't have a kitchen right now, and I don't want to spend time in the kitchen when it's nice out anyway. And I'm also thinking there could be spots on this trail where I can exit and go to a nice farm market, so I'll be looking out for that too. This could be my new place with my external battery pack and my phone and editing video and things, and I might have to make room on iCloud, but these are all easy enough to do. And this is cool too, because this is embodied, and I've told myself a million times I need to be in my body right now, because I can write a book if I feel like it in 10 years. And maybe if I'm in my body for these 10 years, I'll write a different book than if I'm sitting machinating trying to write a book. And maybe the reason why I can't write a book right now, my brain won't let me organize those things, is that I'm not meant to be doing that right now. So this is awesome. And I even thought of capturing the day's wandering. Like, I saw a caterpillar, I saw so many cool things. Hey, little guy. Ooh. Really cute when you walk. I just found a marijuana roach right on the ground, right in plain sight. It was right there. So I picked it up with a napkin and threw it in a prickle bush where it can't be seen. It's right next to like an elementary school or something. And you know, kids, drugs, they open your brain up to a world that you can see with your own eyes without drugs, if you only know how to look. And the thing is that you know how to look when you're born. You're born this way. But certain things make you forget how to look. So then we turn to drugs to wipe away all that falseness that allows us how to see something different. And of course it's really different and wonky because we're not used to seeing in these ways anymore. So they're not necessary, and they only get your brain in trouble. We can access this seeing just by being out in nature, and not just by, you know, it sounds oversimplified, but it really is simple. The simple beauties we can't see. It's okay, it'll all be okay either way. So I just did an intermittent 10-mile skate, and I decided to get a burrito and find this trail, thinking it's going to be peaceful, but it's right beside a bunch of gun shooting. It seems one can't escape this violence. It's everywhere, and I'm feeling it. And it's just challenging to be around. I don't know what the resolution is. I just feel like a bunch of drama is going to get created. To play into people's ideas about me. And then that creates me as what others project onto me as what they know me as. It kind of sucks. I know myself as the possibility of something else, but it seems impossible around people who can't see other than their recordings. I don't know. I don't know if the answer is to get away or go through. Maybe it's get away day by day and go through it. Because the thing is, if I don't leave on good terms, then it only creates drama other places. It follows me. Yeah, I don't know. Can I refuse to play into this violence? I don't know. Maybe it won't be there when I get back. This is the miracle of the beautiful world. I'm walking up this hill like in the world of thought and awfulness. And here is an untapped freshwater spring. Look at that. Look. This is water directly from the center of the earth. Like, it's a miracle. Now I don't know how to get my hands clean, but I wonder if someone could dig it out. I'll have to look that up if it can be dug out. But it's a miracle right here. I want to be part of this world. I want to tap this spring. I've been kind of struggling with something today, and interestingly enough, sitting at the top of this hike, eating a big mucho burrito, a man sat down and started talking to me, and the conversation got to a place where he was able to give me some good perspectives that were very relevant. It's almost like he knew a lot more about the situation than he did. Based on what he said, it was kind of perfect. It's what I needed to hear. So it's interesting to just go out and wander for a day, wait for a stranger to be a friend and provide a brief listening ear and give some non-judgmental, helpful perspectives back. It was nice. Thanks, universe. I am a bright, shiny, sparkly human being. I'm sorry if that is not how I've been in your experience, though that is how I choose to be in mine. I'm trying to shake off some old, ugly patterns that are haunting me, and it's really challenging, but it's a lot easier by the river and wearing these shoes. I was raised to live in fear, and I don't want to live in fear anymore. There is a beautiful world that one can inhabit, and it's only a matter of, I don't want to say choice, but surrounding oneself with love and beauty as much as possible. And friends. And who is a friend? People that uplift, and how can I be a better friend? Part of this doesn't fully resonate with my heart and my experience, but we'll see how it goes. I've had a rough couple of days. It seems that I'm easily triggered by yelling, and it seems to make me regress into patterns from childhood where I would be just afraid and wanting to run or hide or tiptoe. And there was a lot of pain, and I was in that for a couple of days. But I spent time outside, and I was able to go through it all. I wasn't able to stop it though, but I don't think stopping it is a good thing per se. There's lots of layers to it, and I'm wondering if, because I'm taking these nutrients, I'm able to move through some of it. And also, it's nice outside, so I can go outside and not stay inside and ruminate. So yeah, there was a lot that I seemed to process, and I won't go into the details, but it took a while to get through, but it wasn't like it derailed me for months. And I still could be derailed for months at some point, but this was definitely a mini derailment. I'm walking on this trail, and I really could do without that traffic noise across the river. Ugh, it's just so noisy. And I put my bag down to check my voicemail because somebody called, and I was hoping that it was the maps people. But it was just some kind of spam call. And a dog ran over and stuck his nose in my bag and like got his slobber from his jowls like all over my bag. And so I really don't like when dog owners let their dogs off leash in areas that aren't off leash parks. Because then they go and they slobber in people's bags, and who wants that? Gosh. So, I'm more of a cat person than a dog person, just because they roam around and poop everywhere and slobber in your bag. And owners let them off leash because since they love their dog and think their dog is so cute, they think everyone should love their dog, and their dog drooling in their bag where their food is. I don't know. So I'll be smarter next time, and I'll put my bag down if there's a dog around off leash. It's kind of my fault too, because dogs can't really help it, but it was definitely an on leash area, not an off leash area. So I shouldn't have to worry about dogs coming up and drooling all over my bag. Now I have to clean my bag. My magical backpack is not as magical now because it has dog slobber all over it. And it's like sparkly, and like it looks like slug stuff when slugs are all over the ground in the morning. It's really gross. So that's my thing about dogs for today. But it is a beautiful day, and this is a nice trail if the noise wasn't there. So I'm gonna go find another trail that doesn't have all this noise. I need to find a park that is really, really silent around here. I did a hike up a mountain 2 days ago, and all you hear is traffic noise from the highway there too. Though I did find that freshwater spring. So I'm going to watch a video on how to possibly dig out that spring, maybe. We'll see. And also, maybe learn how to camp. Just really focus on being outdoors. I'm glad I spent the whole day outdoors on Tuesday because I was going through a lot of stuff. Even though it was a beautiful day, I was triggered by something that kind of like ruined my day and part of the next day too, and made me feel like tiptoeing. And it's all my own stuff, I see that, but it was interesting how I couldn't stop it from happening, but by going outside and sort of going through it on my own without being around others that could make it worse by wanting to interact with me when I'm not in those good states, then it was better. And maybe this is good because it's sort of testing my theory about how when the worst of the crisis comes, it's better not to be around anyone. It was hard, but I got through it, and the supplements helped. And when I was in that state, it was hard to remember about the supplements and remedies, but when I got home that night, I took more stuff, like calming stuff, and it helped. And that day, on Tuesday, I don't think I took any dopamine boosters, but when I got home, I realized, okay, when I woke up today, or maybe the next day, I can't remember which day, I'm losing track. That's the thing, it's hard to be as meticulous when my brain isn't working as well. And so I realized when I woke up, okay, I'm feeling depressed. This is when to take dopamine. And I was thinking the dopamine booster, tyrosine and rhodiola. And I was thinking maybe I wouldn't be taking any of it at all. But maybe it's morphing into, maybe I'm less stable taking the remedies, but also more stable in that I do have more control on a physiological level. Meaning it's almost giving my life more permission to have some ups and downs in daily life, as opposed to everything's fine and then just hitting a big huge wall. So maybe by having these bumps along the way, maybe it'll make it less of a crash when I'm due to crash totally. I don't know. But at least it is giving me some opportunity to learn how to navigate it with these supplements and remedies, these physiological things. Because the thing that I learned kind of was I was triggered and I was just leaving for the day. I already had my plans to go skate and find trails and things. And I was triggered and it ruined my day, even though I was doing exactly what I wanted to do. So it's still, I don't want to say ruined my day, it colored my day. So even though I was doing exactly what I wanted to do, it didn't help. Though it helped, it didn't take it away. It wasn't like, well, I'm doing what I want to do, so I'm just going to ignore what happened or what's happening inside. It still went on and I couldn't stop it. But the cool thing is that at the end of the day, I can take supplements and go to sleep and get a lot of good sleep. And I wasn't thinking that day, I don't think, to take the dopamine stuff because I was already on my way out the door. So that could have triggered me to be kind of depressed and low energy or something, but I didn't have the dopamine stuff with me. So the next day, I did take the tyrosine, rhodiola, and I had a pretty good day. It was hard in some respects, but I had lots of good friends around me, and so the day was nice. So yeah, usually it's just one big collapse, and this was like a mini collapse, but still able to function. And I think the whole pretending I'm fine to certain people is a good idea. And then, talking with good friends is a good idea. And also continuing to move towards a dream lifestyle scaffolding, whatever that might look like. So yeah, and I am going away for a month later, in a month, I guess. So still focusing on what I need to do, getting organized inside on those days. There's going to be some inside days coming up because it's going to rain. So I am enacting my WHAM plan. So certain things that are triggering me are reminding me to activate the WHAM plan, like go outside, nice day. Yes, first thing, get outside. Easy, right? Tomorrow I have to work, and then it's going to be an outside day, but I have to work, and then it's going to rain, I think, for about 4 days. So I am going to stay inside, and I bought food at Costco to flow. So this is going to be my new eating style, probably, is flow. I don't have a kitchen, so everything I eat is going to not require a kitchen, but I can still eat mostly at home. So I got like carrot sticks and hummus. I got more kombucha. I got coconut water. I got some juice to go with the branched chain amino acids if I need them. I got dates. I got apples. I got oranges. I haven't been eating a lot of fruit, so I'm going to switch more to like fruitarian, nuts and vegetables, kind of raw mostly, and see how that goes. We'll see. It's just that way I don't have to like cook and all that, and I can flow more in my own space, the space that I do have, and see how that helps, because I'm easily triggered into old patterns. But then I'm also learning that I really can't stand any kind of like violence, like yelling, or these violent patterns that I was bathed in partly growing up, which is not really anyone's fault because it's just carried on from the first human beings, It's just this big wave of conditioning that nobody can help, really. But I don't want to participate in that. So, I went through some stuff the last couple of days, and I came up with a little affirmation. Something like, I am a sparkly, shiny human being, and I bring joy to lots of people. And then something about, I can't remember the other part. It was something about, I don't know, because I was thinking a little bit about nonviolent communication, like saying the whole feeling or observation, feeling, need, request thing. But if somebody says something and they want me to sort of communicate on that level, I could say, I'm a sparkly, shiny human being, and I bring joy lots to people. Despite how you're wanting me to interact right now, I choose to uphold that, or something like that. Just saying, no, I'm not going to communicate on that way. But if I say no, then that just makes people mad, probably, or more mad. But if I say an affirmation of what I am, or what I choose to be now, then I don't know what anyone can say. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know if I'll need to use that, but that felt strong. It felt stronger than even saying like a feeling need, observation feeling need request, because somebody could still be like, that's crap. I don't know. And I know times when I've yelled and gone back down to that level. So, oh yeah, the other part was I won't be convinced otherwise. And then I just added, despite what you might be seeing in this situation, or despite what might want to play out in this situation. I don't know. Because we're just wanting to reenact old dramas to prove that we exist as separate entities when we don't. And then that's also why this whole feeling I had of being triggered feels so painful, because we're not separate. And I think that's the difference in this last week, is I can really feel where things are coming from and what the triggers are exactly for me, and then what those patterns mean. And I do play into them a bit, but I'm able to like communicate with friends about it and then work it out instead of not seeing it. Or yeah, because I've talked about this a lot before, how with medications it blocks us out from seeing these exact triggers, maybe, or things that are triggering us, but we're still seeing it on some level. So it is accumulating as some kind of allostatic load of stress that eventually implodes, and then it's like, well, now you need a med change or something like that. And then there's so much suffering between med changes, and that so much suffering between the changes isn't it's taking time for the medications to work only. It's also all that pain from the time period that the other medication was blocking. It's no longer able to block it, and it all comes in one big tsunami instead of messing around with the person's daily life, so then the person can so-called function a little bit better, somewhat. But then the meds also cause other problems like lack of energy and things. So, it leads to this sort of pseudo-functioning. So I'm not sure. I really don't know, though, if what I'm doing right now is allowing me to see things and then process it in small chunks. Or maybe there still will be a big tsunami. Could easily be that. But I'm seeing some things and processing them. And I think like being out exercising and things like that really help. And right now I'm even like stuttering, so I can see how processing this shit like messes up people's manifestations in their physical form. And yeah, so processing a lot. Don't know if it'll stop the tsunami. Also seeing that it's good to have some kind of space because of how quickly I can be triggered. But the thing is, I was able to go process it on my own, and that thing that triggered me is not mine. But it still triggered the feeling and the immensity of all how that has affected me through my whole life. So it was a lot to process. It wasn't just that isolated thing. So, yeah. And maybe some of that is done. Like, I don't know. Well, I never want to say that. I don't want to say anything's done. I don't know what's going to happen in 2 seconds. So sometimes I feel like I do. But I think learning about being outside, getting used to having the orientation of mostly being outside would be most excellent. I'm going back and I'm going to find a different trail than this. This one was okay. It's nice that it's flat, because even though I skated and hiked 2 days ago, I woke up today and my body felt like it was in a lot of pain. I don't think I could climb a mountain today, so I'm not in shape. I was sitting around in a chair on a computer most of the winter, so I need to change that, and that'll help for sure. Being out in nature, even though I come out in nature and then my backpack gets drooled on, right? But I said to the guy, I said, your dog just slobbered on my backpack. And then he looks at me, he's like, I'm sorry. He's like, do you want me to wipe it off? I'm like, do you have anything? And then he came and tried to wipe it off with his sleeve. So it didn't turn into this like big drama or anything. I just stated a fact. And I didn't say it like really mean or anything. I just said, your dog just slobbered on my backpack. In my backpack. So, but I created that, my resonance. So each moment is a chance to learn to act differently, right? If I get triggered by someone yelling at me and then I go and yell at somebody's dog, or they're the owner for slobbering on my backpack, then that's not good. But I didn't yell. I just stated a fact. So I need to not perpetuate that or keep that going, because so many of us have experienced so much of that already, and I want to live up to that affirmation I created for myself, to remind myself that in those rough moments, when I was hiking the other day and I found that spring, when I was looking at it, I could see these sort of sparkly beams of light moving in this pattern that I saw when I was in the psych ward that time, the last time, and I was sitting outside on the grass, and I see this sparkly pattern sometimes. It's like these little beams of light moving, kind of like the flower of life. That's what I think it is. But like each sparkle in the grass was actually an ant. Like it was life, it was movement. So like the sparkle turned into an ant. Or where I saw the sparkle, I looked and there was the ant. And it just kept doing that. And it was like a miracle. And I just saw the beauty. Seeing beauty is the miracle. Even when one is sort of lost in the past, all of a sudden one looks and there it is. And there it always is. It's always available. So anyway, when I saw the spring, or this tiny little bit of water coming out of the side of the mountain, I could see that flower of life sparkling too, in that same way. And I was like, remember life. It's right there. Remember the beauty. You can see it. And when we see it, it changes our brain. And that's the thing, I see it a lot. So then when I'm in that space where it's only that pretty much, and then this violent yelling comes at me, I can see how it just brings me down to the level of anger on the scale of consciousness. Like shoots me down from beauty, and that jump is like, it's like death. It feels like death. It feels like the death of beauty. It's like being in that other world of beauty. It's just this beautiful world, and then with this yell, it's like it like makes the brain shrink and shrivel and stop learning and stop loving and stop looking and stop seeing and being beauty. So it was quite dramatic. And then I realized, wow, that change from me feeling like perfectly fine and in this realm of beauty down to feeling like afraid and scared and hateful, that jump from me feeling like in the realm of beauty to that lower level could manifest as me having this extreme mood change and me having this mood disorder. And I realized, no, it's not me. That violence, that anger is the illness. And yeah, we all have part of that, but part of the illness manifesting supposedly is this dramatic change from being perfectly fine in this beautiful world of creativity, and then somebody coming along going, no, you can't be there. You have to be where everyone else is. We're going to bring you back down to this level. That's only one tiny interpretation based on a recent experience. That's not the whole thing. It's very complex. It changes, it morphs, it's moving. I can't figure it out. I have an insight into it one moment and it changes. So what I say one second doesn't apply the next, but I say it anyway. But yeah, so it's like there's no person with a mental illness. It's this anger and this violence. And these rapid changes in consciousness in certain individuals that are able to go to higher states, but past patterns call them back to lower states, and then that dramatic change is like yelling and hollering back. Like, the trouble is, though, we who undergo these rapid changes in consciousness, we end up yelling back, and then that confirms that level, and it anchors us in it, and we are that too. So there is a possibility of not communicating at that level, because if we do, then we're back in the pattern. So it's, I don't know, I really need to learn how to communicate with those who there's been a miscommunication for a very long time. I'm a sparkly, shiny human being, and I refuse to be convinced otherwise. I said I wanted quiet, so I drove up a mountain, up a dirt road, and now I'm on this mountain trail by myself. Definitely quiet. The dirt road was pretty crazy. I had to go really slow to navigate all the bumps. So I don't know how long I'm going to walk along here. This park gate closes at 6 and it's 3 o'clock. So I don't have a ton of time anyway. Even if I walk for half an hour, that's good. This is a nice open trail, but there could be bears. That's a little scary, but I think I'd rather be doing this than rotting away in a room or something. And this is the stuff that I need to learn to resonate with. Peace and nature, which can also be unforgiving. But here I am. It's funny how I was down by that bridge down there on the near side of the river, and then I walked along, and then I walked back, and then I drove all through the farmland, all up this mountain, all up a dirt road, and now I'm at the top. I can only hear a gentle hum of the highway because that nice mountain is blocking the sound. The birds are more prevalent. So I'm on my way back on this trail, and then there might be another one I want to do that leads to a lake apparently it only takes like 20 minutes. It was a long drive up here. It's not a long distance, but it takes a while when you're navigating all these rocks and potholes in an old 1992 Toyota Corolla. It's definitely worth it though. I saw a magical forest in my mind's eye. And now I'm in one for real. Or was the other one more real? This trail is supposed to eventually lead to a lake, but I looked on the map and I'm still like only a third of the way there. Maybe, because it could wind a lot. And I'm in the middle of nowhere by myself. So I might turn back and try this trail another day with someone else or by myself. But I'm gonna go back, I think, and there's no cell connection right now. And if I knew exactly how long this trail took, that would be good. Somebody I saw told me about half an hour, but I've already been walking for like 20 minutes, and it shows that I'm possibly only a third of the way there and kind of walking away from the lake, though it does weave around. So, yeah, I think that's good for today. I'm gonna head to another park, and it's a really big bee interested in me. I just got a text message from Canadian Blood Services saying that your blood could be powering a mom singing to her baby. Thank you for saving a life. And I did the thing where you buy coffee for the person behind you in the drive-through lineup for the first time today. And it gave me a rush, like a kindness rush. And then it reminded me how I used to be really kind when I had a bit more money. And now that I have less, I'm not as generous. But I think I need to start being more generous again. I think that's something that's missing. I got a new shirt as a gift, avocado holic. And I'm feeling really low energy and really down. And I think it's something that I need to go through to learn how to lie to myself in a way, how to pretend that I'm okay around others, especially certain others that if a conversation starts to happen, it only makes it worse. So I think I'm seeing the value of talking about troubles with, say, a counselor and around others who might be wondering, well, what's wrong or something. Just be like, nothing, I'm fine. Because if one says a little bit of what's wrong, it's not going to make it better. It only gets into drama. and that only makes it worse. So yeah, I'm not sure what to do about this feeling. I'm not sure if there's anything I can do about it. I've been inside for a few days because it's been raining, and tomorrow it should be nicer out, and I'm gonna get outside and see how that makes me feel. And I'm still going with the flow diet, which is mainly only needing a fridge to store food like fruit and vegetables, and then eating that and not needing a kitchen to prepare food. I think I said I've been sleeping really well, like 10 to 12 hours a night, and I'm just using 1 dose of the knockout supplement remedies, and that's good to sleep a lot. 2 nights ago I slept like 12 hours, and here are my sleep cycle screenshots. And I ordered some earmuff head covers to block sound, so that way sometimes I don't like wearing those headphones that go in my ears so long, or earplugs forever, so this will give me another option to potentially dampen down sound. And it's interesting how I keep trying to collect these things to be able to navigate this environment that's just not right for me. So we'll see what happens in June when I go away. Hopefully I make it that long. And I also looked into other types of earplugs, and I found something called knobs, Knops, and they're things you stick in your ears, which I might not be able to wear all the time because it gets annoying and kind of moist and yucky, and you can literally turn the noise down. They look like these things in your ears, and they're doing pre-ordering right now on their website, and I think they're also doing crowdfunding. So I'm a little bit wary because I used to love shopping on crowdfunding like Indiegogo, and then all of a sudden they just stopped sending the products. So the last time I ordered was last April, and it's like, we're making this cool hard drive you can plug into your iPhone, and we're going to be shipping in May, and it was like April, and I thought since the ship date was so soon that it was solid and it was actually going to be shipped out, but I never got anything. And there were a few other things, like I tried to order this thing you breathe in and it'll tell you your hydration level, as well as like if your breath stinks or something, and then they changed it. They're like, well, now it's only going to say hydration level, not the breath stink thing. But then I never got anything, and I tried to contact them, never got a reply. And there was another one I ordered too, and these are like at least $100 a pop, never got anything. So I did get a couple good things on there initially, which gave me confidence to keep buying on there, but then they just stopped sending the products and stopped replying, and no updates. And it's not really cool because once Indiegogo gives them the money, the campaign people, they don't have to make anything. They don't have to ship out anything. They're not obligated. So it's supposed to be like crowdfunding to like fund research. So if you want to fund their research and maybe fund their vacation or something, go ahead and buy on there, but don't think that you're actually going to get anything, because the last 3 or 4 things I've ordered or crowdfunded, I didn't get anything. No reply, nothing. No, oh, thanks for funding us, we're not able to produce the product. Nothing. So And I contacted Indiegogo, and they're like, well, once we hand over the money, there's nothing we can do. So it's just like a platform to hand people money to make something that they don't have to make. So I don't like that at all. So I'm not going to buy these NOPS things until they're actually being shipped. Not while they're being crowdfunded or pre-ordered or anything like that, because they could just not ship it. So I would say only do crowdfunding, especially on Indiegogo. That one seems really bad. If you are willing to do away with your $100 and not get anything ever. And if you do get something, it's usually not as good as they say they're going to create. And I guess that's part of it. But I guess I invested in some ones that were bad. They just weren't planning on shipping anything out. There was something else too. I can't remember what the other one was, but anyway, that's my thing about crowdfunding. Used to love it, used to get cool stuff. I got a really cool DAC, digital audio converter for my computer, like small one. Got some decent headphones that had a DAC in them. Things like that, but I'd rather order stuff that's actually made already. And also, I did order this Cardia device, and it's kind of cool. It has an app, and then I put my fingers on it like this for 30 seconds, and it shows me my heartbeat. It doesn't really have any kind of useful data for me. It just says normal, normal, normal. It's more for people who have atrial fibrillation. But I think it's kind of handy to look at my heartbeat, and today it was pretty like, and it said it was beating a lot faster than it was. I don't know if the electricity of the heartbeat sort of messed up the calculation of the heart rate, because it said that I had 116 and then 117 beats per minute, which it didn't say all along in the calculation. I'll show some of the screenshots of that. So I think it was helpful, though, to see that even though there wasn't any abnormalities detected, my heartbeat wasn't pretty like it was yesterday. So I'll show that those differences. And also, after a month, they don't give you access to their premium subscription, and you have to pay $10 a month, even just to store your EKGs on the app, which is kind of lame. You think they'd at least let you store each one on there and not give you access to other features like ask the clinician about your heart, your EKG, and things like that. But as long as I can export them as PDFs, I'll keep the device. But if they don't let me do anything with the data, though I could always take a screen recording and a screenshot, so then I might keep it. Plus, when I get the HeartMath device, I'm going to see if that makes the Cardia device redundant. And if it does, I'll send back the Cardia device because of limited resources. Though I think it is helpful to look at my heartbeat, and it's like paying attention to the heart. And so anyway, I'll show those screenshots of the Cardia stuff here and screen recordings. These are 3 of mine from yesterday and the day before. The 2 on the top, I was more stressed, and I noticed that initial first little bump is higher. So I think when I'm feeling stressed, that initial small bump is almost as high as that bigger, wider peak, or just as high. Higher or just as high. The bottom one was more calm. This morning, it was not looking very rhythmic. Usually at first, it takes a while to level out and get rhythmic, but this is the whole thing, and it didn't get rhythmic at all, and then it gave these higher than usual beats per minute, and I tried it again, and it did it again. Here, my heart looked a little bit more smoothed out this morning, but then it still went wonky, and I was feeling distress, so I think this does pick up some distress, even though it's not necessarily designed for that. This is a recording of the actual process, and after those 2 tries, I tried it again, and my heart signal did seem to smooth out again and look somewhat normal. I think by looking at my heart and recognizing that it was beating in a distressed way, I was able to regulate it, but I'm not sure. And then that's what it looked like later this morning after I was able to get it into some semblance of order by paying attention to my very heartbeat. Still went kind of wonky at the end, but it at least gave 76 beats per minute instead of 116 and 117. I think that was kind of erroneous data, but it could be because my heart was so distressed, which could be specific to PTSD or something. I don't know. I'd have to look into it more, but yeah, that was the end of that one. There's these peaks, like really high energy. So like I said, I don't know that much about what this data means right now, but this is medical grade ECG, and it is showing that my heartbeat is erratic. Like I said, it does take a while to smooth out at first, but even on some of them, it just kept beating in an erratic way. And I've been thinking about the heart, and yesterday I had a lot of calm breathing, and I was sort of practicing dropping into my heart and not really being in my head. And I think this sound that I hear, especially a lot lately, like this whatever sound, and it's changing in its flavor and its pattern, is something to do with the heart, and the heart really is in charge. And I listened to the audiobook, Practicing the Power of Now, and I had a lot of calm breathing while listening to that. And that could be what helped me have a lot of calm breathing yesterday. And I just had 3 minutes of calm now while talking to myself. And the other thing I'm trying out is not having caffeine. So last night and the night before, I didn't have any caffeine that day, and I slept well. And then the one before, I had coffee, and then the one before that, no caffeine. So I'm thinking that it's good to have no caffeine and sleep better. And my resting heart rate has been a bit lower the last 2 days when I wake up. I think today it was 72 or something, and yesterday it was 69 actually. 69. Before that, 75 and 83. So I think this is what's helping actually, is having more of a calm heart, even if the mind is a little bit more active. The heart can kind of lead the way and put the mind stuff aside and still be calm through certain situations. But as soon as the mind wants to come in and take over for that situation and talk and stuff, it's not good. It's just going to lead to drama. But if the heart can be calm and say, well, my heart's calm, maybe my mind's not the most calm, but it's not going to be worked out by X person in this situation, then that could be key. And I have taken tyrosine the last 3 or 4 days, and it's helped. I've been able to get stuff done. Today I feel a little bit slower than the 2 days before. I was able to work away at getting my videos organized in the way that I organize them and backed up, which takes a while. The more videos there are, the longer it takes. So I might go back to doing longer videos, because if I do 45-minute videos, then that could be like 1/3 the work in terms of backing stuff up later on. So yeah, I think the tyrosine is helping keep my executive functioning going. Even though I feel kind of low, I'm able to still get some stuff done. And today I managed to call HP and get my Samsung printer hooked up to the wireless internet properly, and that was a big victory, because it was doing this dumb thing and I was still able to print, but every time I'd open my computer it would hook to my printer Wi-Fi, and then I'd have to switch it to the regular Wi-Fi, and then if I wanted to print something I'd have to switch it back to that printer Wi-Fi. So it wasn't connected properly, and the help was very helpful, and now it's connected properly, and that's a pain in the butt not there anymore. And I also ordered an anti-radiation bag for my iPhone for when I don't want that radiation coming at me. Though right now I kind of rely on it because of these different biofeedback devices. But I'm wondering, when I'm in nature, if I really need that. So we'll see. So I keep ordering stuff, but I feel like it's slowed down a lot in the last couple of days, and I'll be able to play around with what I ordered. So yeah, exploring this whole heart aspect thing right now. And I also laminated, not quite perfectly, but I laminated my crisis plan. It's all pretty according to colors and things, and I'm thinking that this stuff is really helping. I'm wondering if I hit a mini wall and went into a mini psychosis the last few days, just sort of living in the past and past memories and awfulness and navigating that. Being out and about really helped that a lot. So having nice weather where I can be outside and go through some of that is really helpful. At least it seems that way so far. So yeah, I have this all laminated, and then I have a copy in my wallet. I have a copy with my extra supplements that I haven't started taking. But that's what I need to remember, is if I get into like suicidal and really depressed, I can take uridine or inositol or SAM-E, and I could start some of these other brain growth stuff too. But I'm going to see how long I can last like this, because I don't want to take them if it's not quite time yet. And I purchased an app called Edible Plants, and it's by Marcus Rothkranz, who's like a raw food guy. And so when I'm out and about, I sort of want to take the opportunity to see if I can learn about possible edible plants that I see. I might not want to eat those particular ones that I see along a trail, because dogs could have peed on them or something. But I think if I start to learn, that would be cool, because I don't know how much I'm going to be able to work to get more access to resources, but I could learn how to need less resources. One thing would be to start spending less money on stuff that I think I need. I think part of it is trying to determine or have a reliable means of determining what scenarios might not be the best for me right now. So if I have this heart math device and it's like your heart is stressed in this scenario, then it would give me physiological data to go by. And I don't know if that's what I'm looking for or what it is I'm looking for. And I'll take out this little EMF meter to check the EMF when I'm around those power lines and stuff when I'm rollerblading. So I probably have more to talk about later, but that's all for now. I'm pretty caught up with things and want to see what it is I need to create next.